Welcome to Taking Stock. I'm Amanda Lang. Coming up on the show, a special look at tourism in Canada, including the economic value of the sector and how to grow it, and a model for community-based tourism innovation. Plus, the service industries that depend on travelers. That's all ahead. But first, a look at the value of travel and tourism to the Canadian economy by the numbers. In 2024, tourism accounted for 1.77% of Canada's GDP and employed 704,000 people, or 3.4% of the workforce. Tourism revenue was $129.6 billion in 2024, according to StatsCan, up 4% from the year prior and 123% of 2019 levels. Of that, the majority was domestic tourists at $98.4 billion. Compared to $31.2 billion from international travelers coming to Canada, with the strongest rebound happening at home. Domestic travel is 129% of 2019 levels, while international travel is 109%. Ontario attracted the largest number of international visitors at 47%, followed by BC at 28%, Quebec at 14%, and the other provinces combined share the remaining 11%. The strength or weakness of the Canadian dollar has an impact on international tourism. When the loonie is weak, international visits rise, and the opposite is also true. Not surprisingly, Americans make up almost 78% of the international visits to Canada, but account for only half of the foreign spending as non-Americans make longer trips. After a bumpy recovery from the pandemic slump in tourism, 2025 is expected to be a year of opportunity for the sector. That's if tariff uncertainty doesn't spur recessions globally. Despite its importance to the Canadian economy, the tourism sector can feel a little neglected, but there is real value in investing in it. Carine Bergevin-Chammah is an economist with BDC. Thank you for being with us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So we just sort of run through the many different parts of this sector. There are many businesses that can consider themselves part of the tourism sector. I wanted to start high level, whether we treat it as a sector that deserves our investment and attention.
There's a lot of study around what's going on in the tourism sector, and it's definitely something that's attracted a lot of attention from different experts, including us at BDC. There's a lot of SMEs that work in the tourism industry, and we try to understand the sector a bit better to be able to serve these businesses better, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And we definitely saw, obviously, an impact from the pandemic hurting tourism globally, also true here. We've seen a rebound, Carine, but are we back to full health? How would you describe the overall health of this sector?
So the last data point that we have dates from the last quarter of 2024. So this is data around the GDP generated by the tourism sector. And what we see is that it's been going up quite a lot since the pandemic. It's not quite yet to where it was in 2019, but it's really circling in on that level.
We, of course, also saw many of the workers in this sector very hurt because, of course, they were frontline workers, but they couldn't be at their jobs. Tourism shut down. In terms of the employment, it is a huge employer across the country. As it grows, do we expect the jobs to go with it, or is this one of those sectors where we might see some of the jobs never really return as people find other ways to do things?
So, of course, the businesses that are working in that sector, they rely a lot on their workforce to provide those services. So jobs usually tend to go with it. So we could expect jobs to increase as the sector increases, for sure.
We definitely see that domestic tourism is the heart of the Canadian tourism industry. Does that suggest there's a great opportunity in trying to attract more of that international traveler dollar?
So for sure, any dollar counts here. What we see is that foreigners account for a significant share of dollars that are spent in the industry, but we can't ignore as well that Canadians are part of the clientele as well. Actually, Canadians form a large part of the demand for tourism and for the tourism industry, and so both are really important in the equation.
And of course, BDC is in the business of investing in businesses, helping people start and grow businesses. Is this one where there's a lot of entrepreneurship? Do we see small businesses starting up catering to this tourism and travel sector?
In fact, yeah, the industry is one hosting a lot of SMEs in there. There's as you see when you look at the different industries that are part of this, you see accommodation, food and beverages, services. So those are all the restaurants. So a lot of entrepreneurs are participating in this industry.
And do we see growth there? Is this something that BDC will focus on?
So for the growth in terms of number of businesses, it's not something I have in front of me. I would have to take a closer look at it for sure. But what we look at, if we look in terms not necessarily of just number of businesses, but the GDP and number of employment, as I said, since the pandemic, we've seen a great surge in those numbers.
Are we optimistic about the sector for 2025? Do we expect growth this year?
So we're taking a cautious optimism. So we're seeing with the dollar, the Canadian dollar that's lost a bit of value, it should incentivize foreign tourists to come to Canada and spend more dollars here, since it becomes cheaper for them to travel here. And on the flip side, you should also expect Canadians to limit their travel abroad and travel a bit more within Canada.
So good to have you with us, Carine. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Carine Bergevin-Chammah is an economist with BDC. Coming up, a unique model for creating a destination hub. Stay with us.